Ryan O'Bryan, Jimmie Ford O'Bryan, weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on ESPN Evansville 105.3. Back to look at our picks for some of the teams of local interest in week number 8 of the NFL. Of course, the Pigskin Pick'em Challenge is available for you to make your picks online at ESPNevansville.com. Great weekly prizes if you are the one locally that gets the most picks correct, and chance at $10,000 during the big game in February. You can get all the details on the website. So, Jimmy, let us get started here. We'll take a look at some of the teams of local interest, as we always do, and then maybe an upset of the week that we think may take place at some point in week 8. So let's start with San Francisco, St. Louis. The Rams are at home for this one. San Francisco is kind of a mess right now. A lot of questions about Colin Kaepernick and what his role is in this offense and whether or not maybe they should bench him. Should they trade him? What are they going to do with him? Trying to make him a pocket passer when clearly that's not his game.
Right.
St. Louis offensively still nothing to write home about, but defensively have been pretty strong most of the season. I like St. Louis to win this one.
I do too. They're not going to. San Francisco can't do anything with that defense. Their offense struggling enough, and at St. Louis, you get the crowd behind you a little bit. Maybe not always the biggest crowd, but that city though is starting to realize we might lose our football team. Mm-hmm. So they are starting to come out a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think San Francisco can put enough points on the board against that St. Louis defense.
All right, so we'll both take St. Louis on that one. Let's look at Cincinnati-Pittsburgh. That's a pretty good matchup, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. And there's some real games this weekend, quite honestly. But games in Pittsburgh may or may not have Ben Roethlisberger back. The signs seem to point that he will make his return. Roethlisberger's not so sure. There's been some swelling on the knee that he injured a few weeks back. Cincinnati's on a roll. One of the lone remaining undefeated teams in this league right now, 8 weeks in, have a chance to have their best start, I think, in franchise history if they can win against Pittsburgh this weekend. The Pittsburgh defense had some question marks coming into this season, but so far they've played pretty well this year. But Cincinnati, I think, has far exceeded the expectations. I think this is a close game, but ultimately Andy Dalton, A.J. Green, and the other weapons they have, Tyler Eifert for Cincinnati is coming on as a strong tight end. I like Cincinnati to beat Pittsburgh here.
If Ben Roethlisberger plays, and that's a huge if, there were talks earlier in the week that it looked like he was going to play, and now, like you said, he's got some swelling on the knee. I think they came out Wednesday about some swelling on the knee. So he may not play. If he plays, Pittsburgh has a chance. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Pittsburgh didn't pull off that win there at home. But it doesn't look like Roethlisberger's going to play. Andy Dalton is playing MVP-type football right now. I got to go with Cincinnati, but I'll put an asterisk beside it. If Roethlisberger plays, Pittsburgh might win.
This next one is what I consider to be the stinker of the week, so to speak, because it's two teams in the AFC South. Jaguars are on a break. Indy, we'll get to them in a minute. But Tennessee and Houston, I have no interest in watching this game. It's just two not good teams. Houston can't do anything on offense. The defense has struggled this season as well. Tennessee may or may not be with Marcus Mariota. There's some talk that he is practicing, went back to practice on Wednesday. But if I'm Tennessee, that's your future right there. I wouldn't rush him back too soon.
Right.
And honestly, Houston, just as bad as they've been, Zach Mettenberger shouldn't have too much trouble beating them. I like Tennessee to win that, even though the game's in Houston.
So I like Houston. If Mariota's not playing, I like Houston. That defense will get to the Tennessee quarterback. Mariota gets it out of there a little bit quicker. Mettenberger, even in college, didn't have the quickest of releases. But I think the Houston defense steps up the game a little. Arian Foster gone, that's going to hurt a lot. But it is in Houston. Tennessee without Mariota, we've seen that the last few years. They're not good. And so I'll go with Houston. If Mariota plays again, let's put my little asterisk out there. Maybe Tennessee wins. But I think even with Mariota, really, I think Houston may get this game.
I love how you hedge your bets with an asterisk.
Well, you don't got no money involved in it. Well, this is daily fantasy.
Unless
it does change the whole.
It does change.
It changes the whole look of the ball game.
Let's look at the Sunday night matchup. Two of the undefeateds in the NFL will meet up in Denver as Green Bay travels to the Mile High City, so to speak, to take on the Broncos. Broncos defense has been lights out all season. Manning has had his struggles in this new Kubiak offense, and age is starting to clearly catch up with him. Green Bay coming off a bye week, their defense much better than I think a lot of people thought it would be. I know they gave up 500-plus yards to Phillip Rivers a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but only 21 points, I think it was.
Exactly. So As good as Denver's defense has been, I think they're going to have to lean a little heavier on Peyton in this game, and I don't know that Peyton can get it done like he used to be able to. I like Green Bay to stay undefeated and Denver to get the first loss of the season.
Well, I like it for the same reasons you just said. I like Green Bay, and I just like Green Bay. But I don't think Denver's offense can score enough points because even against a good defense, this Green Bay offense, if you can get out of a game with Green Bay scoring 21 or less, you've really done your job against an explosive offense. I don't think Denver can score 21. Their offense, Green Bay's defense, like we said, is better. But Denver's offense is struggling so much, I don't think they can score enough to beat Green Bay, even if their defense does play good football. I think Aaron Rodgers throws a pick, which he doesn't do often. I think the Denver defense gets to him a few times, and I hope and pray that he's still healthy come Monday morning. But I do think Green Bay gets that win.
All right, let's move on to the Monday night matchup. Final game that will wrap up week number 8. That's Indianapolis making the trip over to Carolina. We know Indianapolis is they're not a good football team right now. They're having all kinds of struggles in all phases of the game. Special teams, defense, offense. Andrew Luck has not played like I think a lot of people had expected him to this season in his 4th year in this league. Carolina is one of the undefeated teams and playing very good football this year. The game is in Carolina. That team and that fan base is going to be just riotous almost to some degree. As much as I love the Colts, I've kind of written this season off already, to be honest with you. Even though they are in the AFC South and more than likely will make the playoffs, I like Carolina to win this game. I just hope it's not a complete embarrassment for the Colts.
Well, if it were in Indianapolis, I'd give the Colts a little bit of a chance because they are a good football team. They've got to turn it around sometime or another. We're going to see the Andrew Luck of old. There's a lot of talk of, is he overrated? Is he this? We've talked about it a lot on the Ford and O'Brien show all week. But it's just he's in a slump for whatever the reason may be. Carolina's defense is going to pin their ears back. They're going to come after him. He's going to have to get it out of there quick. I'd feed Frank Gore if I were him. But regardless of what Indy does at this point in Carolina, I don't know if they have an answer for Cam Newton on his feet or his arm. And I would have to lead for the Panthers as well, as hard as that is to say.
It's not, at this point in the season, not that hard for me to say. They're just not playing good football.
All right, fair enough.
Let's get to our upset of the week. I'm going to go with the New York Jets and the Oakland Raiders game. You've got a Jets team that comes off a loss to New England, but a game that was very close all the way down the wire there, but still a loss. They're now a 4-2 team. 4-2 team. Oakland is the real deal, I think, this season. Not a spectacular team, but they're not a
pushover.
Yeah, they're not a pushover like they have been in years past. The game is in Oakland. That fan base has something to be fired up and proud of, and like you need that fan base to be mad or angry or loud about anything. But I think Oakland's got the potential here. I think they get the win over the Jets on Sunday.
Last week I took Oakland, and they got for my upset of the week, and they did that in San Diego. This week, the Atlanta-Tampa Bay game. Atlanta, I think, is just, I don't know if overrated is the right word. They're not a bad football team. But I don't think they're as good as their record shows right now. There were a few games early in the year they could have lost as easily as winning. I know good teams find a way to win. I get that. But I think Winston is settling in much better. And with their running game in Tampa Bay, if they can keep that going, which opens play action for Winston and that type of thing. Mike Evans has come around now, got his first touchdown of the season last year. Winston's finding the guys that can make him money. I think Tampa Bay pulls the upset in Atlanta.
All right. There you go. Our picks for some of the games week 8 in the NFL. Make sure you get your picks in for the Pigskin Pick'em Challenge on ESPN.evansville.com. He's Jimmie Ford. I'm Ryan O'Brien. You can catch us weekdays 3 to 6. The Ford and O'Brien Show on ESPN Evansville 105.3.